Well, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and this year the fight is taking on a new sense of urgency through the lens of systemic racism.
Black women get breast cancer at about the same rate as white women, but they are often younger and more likely to die from it. That's why Susan G. Komen of Oregon and Southwest Washington has launched a new initiative to try and address those health disparities. I spoke with one local woman fighting breast cancer herself, who's helping to start conversations that can save lives.
My initial diagnosis came when I was 31, and I was diagnosed with stage 3 inflammatory breast cancer.
Ty Hardin-Moore knows all too well what it means to live with breast cancer. She fought through chemo, a bilateral mastectomy, and radiation, only to be handed another diagnosis 6 years later.
The hammer dropped, and I was diagnosed as stage 4 metastatic with cancer in my lungs. It had metastasized to my lungs.
She became a forever fighter at an age most women begin breast cancer screenings. Now, almost 3 years later, she's beating the odds.
So putting a limit of 1.5, 2 years, 3 years on me is just something I can't accept. Yeah. I have to be here for myself, for my family. I will fight all the way.
That fight is bolstered by new treatment options within a larger healthcare system still working to become better for all patients. Because, of course, you are fighting breast cancer as a Black woman. There are many racial disparities in the healthcare system that we've seen that are affecting outcomes for breast cancer patients.
It's really important work. I think, too, at this moment in time where America is really dealing with a racial reckoning, this work is more important now than ever before. 2020
has certainly been a year of so much discussion, so much upheaval, so many conversations that many people are having for the first time. So why do we need to really put a magnifying glass on the racial disparities in healthcare and how it's affecting Black women?
Because if we're talking about racism, we have to talk about all racism, right? Not just racial discrimination in jobs or in school, but also healthcare. We know that systemic racism exists, so we're all starting to accept that now. So now that we're accepting it, now we got to work to change it. This is our moment. So putting the magnifying glass on healthcare is just par for the course, in my opinion. If we're going to start addressing racism, it has to be addressed in all systems, and healthcare is a really important one because it affects every part of your life. We know that Black women are 40% more likely to die from breast cancer than other women, particularly white women. We know that Black women are diagnosed at younger ages and later stages. So we have to address those disparities. And part of that work is Komen, Oregon, and Southwest Washington's African American Initiative.
The AAI includes an advisory council of predominantly Black local leaders and community organizations. The goal is to receive input and work with the community to address disparities.
We have to accept that there is racism in our healthcare systems and then find the interventions that we need to address it. And the way we go about that is talking to breast cancer patients, talking to survivors, talking to them about their experience and giving them a voice in it and really listening to the feedback that they give us.
Just think about what he's done for you as you're singing this song.
Those conversations are already happening through Worship in Pink, a program celebrating a decade of work this year in the Portland Metro's churches, barbershops, and salons.
We really had to change it up because of COVID, but we didn't want to let it go because it's something that our community looks forward to, and it's going to become a part of the African American Initiative as well. I think the community piece is so important, especially for the Black community, because that's how we get information. That's how we share information. We're very interconnected. There's so much power in sharing your story, sharing it with other people, and they can relate. They find something in it that speaks to them, where I think just having like a brochure or something doesn't always get the message across. I think it's when you have that personal touch along with the information and you can share, like, this is what I've been through or my family has gone through with this cause. It builds a connection and it really sticks with people.
What would your advice be to Black women out there who maybe are afraid to go to the doctor and speak up and advocate for themselves, or who've been told no in the past?
To not be afraid, to ask the questions you want answers to, and not to give up until you get the answers that you're seeking, even if that means you have to get a second opinion. We know that early detection helps to save lives, But for Black women, it's not just about the early detection, it's the follow-up too, and really knowing your body, knowing the signs, knowing when something's wrong. So I think that that's really important. This is your life. You only get one. So make sure that you're getting the information that you need to save it.
Ty is a remarkable woman using her life and her voice to spread this message right now, even as she still goes through chemo. I mean, it is just incredible the strength she has shown in this fight.
Yeah,
So.
and just what she said was just so spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You may be outside the norm, the guidelines, but you got to advocate for yourself and talk about it. Share that message with friends and family, because sometimes that's what gets through. So if you do want to learn more about the African American Initiative and the Worship in Pink program, these programs are saving lives. You can check out this story. We've got more from Susan G. Komen on Komen.com.